Welcome back to another Now recording, and you may remember that in the last video we looked at BA through BEAS, so that didn't leave much doubt as to what would be the next video. Sorry, my finger's there. It's the Beatles. So I have a number of Beatles records I'm just going to kind of run through. All of these are from my parents except one, and so I'll point that out. One of them I purchased. And so it'll be pretty obvious which one, but I'll show that to you. But we'll just kind of run through these. The Beatles, I mean, you grow up with the Beatles. My dad was a huge Beatles fan, still is. So I grew up as, a baby, through, childhood hearing the Beatles. My dad had all the records, which I mentioned in one of the earlier videos, the records never got played. We never had a record player growing up. That era was dead by the time I was a kid. But he had them all on CD as well, so he would always have them on. And so I grew up listening to the Beatles, and at first you rebel against the music your parents like. So when I was a little kid I liked the Beatles, but then when I grew my own musical conscience, it was at the time of grunge and stuff like that. So I liked those kinds of bands, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and stuff like that. And then from there I got into metal, and so it was like to rebuff. And of course, everything your parents like sucks when you're 14, but that's not the case. So I came around to the Beatles when I was in college, high school and college. And of course I appreciate them. I really like the Beatles. They have a lot of terrific songs and terrific albums. They're not my favorite band. I'm not going to lie and say that, but I do love them, and it's really cool to have these particular albums in the collection, especially because they're originals. So we'll start with Abbey Road, obviously. Just a fantastic cover. I mean, really. And I'm not going to go into all the Paul is dead stuff. He's got the cigarette, he's walking with the other foot and all that. But it's just amazing cover. Obviously, the tracks are fantastic as well. There's not too much wrong with Abbey Road. And just to give you a sense of and it's in pretty good shape. I mean, all things considered, like how old this is. I think this came out in 1970. So this is just a plain sleeve. And then it's in great shape considering how old it is. It really is. It was on Apple Records, so they all have the Apple insignia. And then there's the full Apple. Abbey Road, the Beatles. So Abbey Road, it might be my favorite Beatles. Actually, probably my second favorite Beatles album. We'll get into my favorite in just a minute, but Abbey Road, Here Comes the Sun. She came through the bathroom window, Carry That Weight, You Never Give Me Your Money. Obviously, Come Together. I mean, just such good songs. Such good songs. This is one I've really never put on. Beatles 65. I've just never really put this one on. I'm not entirely sure when this came out, which you'd say 1965, but I've looked this up on Discogs, and maybe I just wasn't searching the right way, but I couldn't really find. I don't know. This might be. Some said it couldn't really be happening, that it was just publicity, and the fabulous Beatles proved them wrong. I think this might just be like a greatest hits compilation. Although it says a new Beatles album with new Beatles songs. I don't know. I'm a moron. I'll look it up. And then we have more great albums for your Beatles collection. Meet the Beatles, the Beatles' second album. And maybe this is like UK. Beatles 65. There's what it looks like. No Reply, I'm a Loser. A Chuck Berry song, I'll Follow the Sun. I'm pretty sure that these came out like No Reply. I'm pretty sure that was on another album. Anyway, Beatles 65. It's an interesting one. This one, yes, I don't have a sleeve. I'm embarrassed. This is, but I couldn't throw it out. This is Meet the Beatles. I don't have the actual jacket for it. So this is an early one. Let's see if it says the year. It doesn't right there. Record in England. I want to hold your hand. I saw her standing there. I haven't put this on. This one's in pretty good shape, I think. Yeah, it's all. If you can see that there, I mean, this one would be tough. But it's, I mean, it's just cool to have. I mean, yeah, look at that. Don't bother me. Hold me tight. I want to be your man. But I can't throw it out. But for all intents and purposes, this one probably doesn't work. And if you can see, oops, sorry, this here. Can you read that? That little tape, Aloisi and Marty. Aloisi, my mother's maiden name. So this would have been one of hers. But again, it's a little piece of history. It's from way back in the 60s. Can't toss it or anything. All right, next we've got Let It Be. The final. Well, I think Abbey Road was the final Beatles album. This one was meant to be the final Beatles album, and apparently they just were not satisfied. This is the story how my dad tells it. They weren't satisfied with the results, so they went back in the studio and created Abbey Road. Really cool jacket here. There's their probably their practice setup, I guess, and then let's just lift this up here. In the studio. And then them on the rooftop. Very cool. On the back. And this is one that I don't listen to a lot. Across the Universe is a good song. I've Got a Feeling it's a good song. Long and Winding Road. I mean, these are Get Back. I mean, these are good songs. This is a new phase Beatles album. Essential to the content of the film Let It Be was that they performed live for many of the tracks. In comes the warmth and the freshness of a live performance as reproduced for disc by Phil Spector. Yeah, this was kind of like a live-to-tape kind of album. Let's just take a look at this one. We'll take a look at all of them just to see how the actual albums look. Again, no ads on the jacket or anything like that, or on the sleeves. And then you've got, again, the Apple records. So, very cool. Very cool. Again, all of these are originals. All right, moving on. Because I've noticed that I've made some of these videos are pretty long, and I know I want to be cognizant of that. This one's in very tough shape, which is a shame. Magical Mystery Tour. Let's see. It includes 24-page full-color picture book. I mean, look, it's already. I mean, it's coming apart. Here's the record. And it is it's in tough shape. I mean, there's no sleeve. It's too bad. But I think it would probably still play, but it might be a tough listen. And the Walrus. Focus. Penny Lane. I need to get Strawberry Fields Forever. I need to get an actual sleeve for this. Yeah, I don't have one right now. I'll have to buy just a blank sleeve just to give it something. And then I guess how this worked was, so this was a, I want to say this was a TV show, the Magical Mystery Tour, and then this is like the soundtrack for it. I could be completely wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong if you watch this in the comments. But it came with this book, and the book is actually built in. Color film for television. There you go. I don't remember any of the actors, or I don't recognize any of those actors. Largely intact, which is very cool. I've never seen that. The film. So it's kind of like almost like a comic book, a bunch of pictures. I mean, they were just doing whatever the hell they wanted at this point, and they could. And they were on a lot of drugs too. So this is kind of what they came up with. But that's very cool that it comes with that full book. Again, it's like it's out. I think it's meant to be bound in, but it's still here. So after all these years, that is very cool. And then the back is just kind of this psychedelic kind of picture. So Magical Mystery Tour, again, not in the greatest condition, but, you know, I'll take it. This is Revolver, and this is the one, unfortunately, that I could not play and I couldn't use. This is an original. It's just completely beat up. You see there's like highlighter on it, like marker. So like these, it's not supposed to be like that. And then on the back, if you see, there's like, I think that's like pencil, more marker. Paul McCartney, lead singer. Oh, on each song. I see. I was gonna say, like, that's weird. That's a typo. I love this album. This is my favorite Beatles album. Again, and the record itself is not gonna work. I did try this when I first got, and here's another example, like the Beach Boys album we looked at with pen all over it. It doesn't work. So in this case, what I did was I went and got this. So I went and got a new pressing of it. Came out. This was printed in 2012, I think. So I had to do that. I mean, Revolver's too good to not get this. In fact, this was when I lived in Somerville with a couple of friends of mine, and we had a Christmas party, and we were doing, it was like just this big Christmas party, and we each gave each other a gift, and we each got one joke gift and one real gift. And the real gift I got from my friend Hank was a copy of Music from Big Pink, which I already had. He didn't realize that I had that. So I returned it to Newbury Comics and got this with it. So, yeah, had to do it. It doesn't look the same as the Capitol Records pressing, but Revolver. So this is the only non-original Beatles album that I have, is this one here. All right, then another classic, Rubber Soul, and I don't think he's meant to have that. I don't think George is meant to have that little Fu Manchu there, but this album is amazing too. Norwegian Wood, You Won't See Me, The Word, Michelle. I mean, these songs are so good. Let's see what condition this one. I mean, this one's split as well. I mean, you know, a little better, but still pretty tough. Still pretty tough. So I'll have to I'll have to buy this one again too, because I love this album. Yeah, this is a great one. So, you know, what are you gonna do? I mean, these ones, you know, again, my dad was the biggest Beatles fan. I mean, the Beatles were, you know, like they said, bigger than Jesus. So these albums probably got played and played and played and played and played, and you know, nothing is going to hold up over that amount of time. And finally, I believe this is because each of my parents had this. We have 2 copies of Sgt. Pepper's. This one is extremely beat up. I think that's like water damage. Again, I can't throw any of this stuff out, even though it's like ruined, just because it's, you know, it's so old and it was my parents, and you know, you just can't do that. You know, something that is interesting, I think these are different pressings, because I'll show you the other one, and I believe the font is different. The album actually looks okay, the record. No sleeve, but I wouldn't expect that from this one. Actually, there is a sleeve. What is this? Let's see. Oh, here we go. What do we get here? Sgt. Pepper cutouts. Oh, that's very cool that this still made it and looks pretty good. This is the sleeve here. I'll put it in here. Here's an example of the ads. So if you wanted to buy Johnny Rivers, you could just do it right from here, which is great. Liberty, the first family of recorded entertainment. Liberty Records. This must have been an imprint of Capitol. Anyone share? Okay. Anyone else noteworthy on it? Herbie Hancock. Some of these people, I don't even know who they are. The Hollies. So, okay. So maybe this is a reprint, because I feel like the original wouldn't, or, you know, first pressing wouldn't have those ads, but we'll find out by opening the other copy. That cutout back end, because that is very cool. I want to make sure that that is preserved. Okay, this is the better looking version, as you can see. Again, split. You can see it's split. Yeah, see, sleeve, no ads. This is in much better shape, and it's a different font. So I would imagine that the other one is a second pressing or later, just because of the different font, and then also the ads on the sleeve. It seems like it might have been like a, maybe not a bargain bin, but something like that. This looks like an original, or at least, you know, close to an original. And that is it. So of the, you know, I guess, you know, there's no Meet the Beatles, no White Album, but, you know, for the most part, you know, a lot of the classic Beatles records. So, you know, I thought I'd give them their own video. They deserve it. And then we'll be back. There's even more bees, a lot of bees. So we'll be back soon. Thanks a lot.